Good morning. Good morning. BNGM, everyone. Welcome to another episode of FOMO Hour. Today is Friday, February 14th, 2025. It's Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. Big day in the Tyler D house. Fun fact, Valentine's Day is my son's favorite holiday. He has a little seersucker suit. He wears it every Valentine's Day. He absolutely loves it. So it's a big weekend here. We're going to go out tonight. It seems like my daughter loves Valentine's Day as well, so much that she's trying to make a little appearance on air this morning. Although she knows that she's not supposed to be doing that. So we'll see. We'll see if she continues to pop in here. Folks, it's a big weekend in our house. It's a big weekend for crypto. Things starting to heat up. Some big news coming through. I'm excited to break it all down with you on today's show. No Farouk, no Mando. They're hungover in Paris after the wrecked party last night. I think the boys went kind of hard there last night. But I've got Logan on with me, writer for Decrypt, previously editor-in-chief over at Lucky Trader. We've been grinding this content for years together. Excited to have him back. Logan, GM, how are you? And are you celebrating Valentine's Day?
Hey, good morning, Tyler. I'm extremely excited to be back and in your presence on stream here at FOMO Hour. Not really celebrating Valentine's Day too heavily. I've got, of course, my fiance's here. Maybe a dinner sometime this weekend or something like that, but nothing super crazy. Still just glued to the market and everything that's happening. And I guess this is my celebration of sorts for the day.
Well, Logan, if I could share a tip with you, and for any the male suitors listening to the show, whether or not your partner, fiance, wife, girlfriend says that they're not into Valentine's Day, that they still want Valentine's Day gifts, that they want something. Doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah.
But you need to have spent some amount of time thinking about them on this day. I've learned that lesson the hard way.
Yeah, of course. We don't do gifts. We only do experience stuff. So there will be something that transpires. We just schedules aren't aligning appropriately for the exact day.
Sure.
But we'll figure something out.
Well, good to hear. We've got Logan on. Bread Guy is stopping by later on in the show. We're going to pick his brain about the Mega ETH Mint, perhaps get his thoughts on this Kaido news that we're going to get into later on in the show as well. So stay tuned for that. Folks, what are we talking about on today's show? We're going to do a market report. We're going to talk about Coinbase earnings, GameStop buying Bitcoin, OpenSea 2.0, and the C token, the Doodles token, the Kaido token, Jupiter's doing buybacks, CZ's dog, Broccoli, ARK's big day, Myriad with their first USDC markets, or the first real money markets rather, and they are going off. And then we'll get into our combo with Bread and Mega ETH at the end. So it is a stacked show. Folks, before we get into it, shout out to our partners. First up, Galaxis. Galaxis is a Web3 platform empowering creators and brands to build unstoppable communities with full ownership and independence, trusted by icons like Donald Trump, Steve Aoki, Mike Tyson, and the NBA, shaping together the future of engagement. And every day, we see people's wallets get drained. Fairside is about to launch the fair alternative to insurance for crypto scams. Check out at Fairside Network on X. If you get drained, you won't be wrecked. All right, shout out to our partners as always. All right, well, let's just get right into the market report here. I'll take us through a quick one and then get into a little chat with Logan here. I'm going to get the screen share fired up for those who are in the stream. Let's go around the horn. So Bitcoin, 97.2, it looks like, up about 1.5%. ETH, 27.20, it's up 3%. Sol up 5.5%, back at 200. So some nice movement on the board here this morning. A few macro headlines. So we've got more and more companies continuing to disclose Bitcoin positions. I saw Avenir, which is an investment fund, so that's a little bit different. But then now this medical group is set to buy 1 billion yen of Bitcoin, and it seems like these headlines are coming in every single day at this point. And folks, it's not just Japanese medical groups buying Bitcoin. It looks like GameStop might be throwing their hats into the ring. Is this GME 2.0? Is this 3.0? I've lost track of what edition this is, but their stock surged after reports that they might be buying Bitcoin and some crypto. Yeah, up 6% at $28, it looks like. Up 9% on the week. So that is an interesting arc. I think we actually talked about that on a prior episode of FOMO Hour, that they might be doing this. So not a huge surprise, but still, this is a big one. That's going to be a fun one to watch. We had Coinbase smashing Q4 earnings, $2.3 billion in revenue, 23% over expectations. The big one was earnings per share, folks. Estimates were $1.07. They came in at $4.40. 4x market expectations. That is a big beat. And then they talked about Base accelerating, their stablecoin adoption accelerating, the institutional trading and assets under custody accelerating as well. So a huge quarter for Coinbase. And let's see. Yeah, those are the main macro headlines I wanted to get into here this morning. Logan, anything jump out to you? Thoughts on GameStop? Do you think they're going to go this way? How much is the market going to care?
As for the crypto market itself, how much does it care about GameStop buying? Probably not that much, right? I don't expect any sort of surge in any particular asset as a result of GameStop buying. What I think this is, though, and you alluded to this, is just the underlying trend of any institution of various sizes, whether that be publicly traded companies, whatever sovereign wealth funds, be it whatever the case may be. They're all looking to get exposure in some way or another. And we've been talking about this. This trend has been crescendoing for quite some time now. We've been talking about it for a while, and it feels like to me, we've at a micro scale always talked about, Tyler, in the trenches and things like that. Once you start to see something so long on your timeline, maybe you need to investigate it a little further. Maybe you need to get some exposure, some skin in the game to it. This feels like that type of thing to me, where all of these, companies, whatever, are trying to get exposure to Bitcoin in particular and other cryptocurrencies. And we're going to look back, in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, right? Whatever time frame you wish to. And we're going to be like, oh shit, they were beating us over the head with these headlines and we were too dumb to just, maybe, hopefully you're not, right? Of course, not financial advice, but this is for future Logan to say, like, don't be so dumb as to see all of these headlines every single day and not continue to pick up some exposure to these assets. There's that. I can't even think of the copy pasta or the tweet, but it's like you're at risk of being underexposed to the industry you log into every day. That thing. That's what this feels like to me. And so I know that's not maybe an insight into the macro environment overall, but the headlines are literally every single day. Scan Decrypt every single day. There's a writer on our team putting out a headline about some new company or an existing company who has already started purchasing more. And it's not just Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy. It's not just them. Of course, the largest holder, but everybody, it seems, is gaining exposure.
I'm totally with you. It's such a good reminder. And we talk about it a lot, but it's something that I had to convince myself to just do. And me, I like to dabble out on the risk curve a little further out than just Bitcoin. But this really feels like one of those things that it's going to be so obvious in hindsight. And owning a single Bitcoin is going to be unobtainable. It's going to be unobtainable for most folks, likely within the next 2 to 3 to 5 years. It's just a matter of when and not if. And clearly it's just chopping right now. I've got the 1 year view up on the month. I mean, it's quite literally this range. We used to think the range was 92 to 107. I mean, this week the range is 95 to 98. It's incredibly tight. It feels like it's the beach ball being held underwater to me right now. That is my feeling. I don't know why exactly Bitcoin is lagging equities when equities have basically been green every day. I don't understand why that is. I don't think it's going to be like this for that much longer. So that is my view on Bitcoin. I want to talk quickly on Coinbase. A lot of folks are bullish. I think this is widely known as a way to bet on crypto without owning any crypto. Stock's actually down today. That's a little interesting. It ran hard into earnings yesterday. The 5 year, it kind of looks like it's a cup and handle on the 5 year. One of my favorite patterns to recognize.
Yes.
I mean, again, going back through their earnings, I think that the big highlights here: assets under custody are up, institutional trading up, stablecoin adoption up. Base is kind of driving all of this as well. What are your thoughts? Are you long coin, short coin? How are you feeling coin here on February 14th, 2025?
Yeah, so I don't have any exposure to the share itself, but I'm generally long Coinbase. I know CT in particular, and our cohort and demographic has a lot of legitimate gripes with Coinbase, right? Seeing all the stuff about the scam, stuff, whatever. There's lots of reasons you can point and pick at centralized exchanges, but I think Coinbase is super important to the longevity of this industry as a foundational player, and given the influence that Brian Armstrong and all of the folks there have. So I'm long coin for the same reason I'm long Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general, is that I think it's inevitable, and I think Coinbase is a major component of that inevitability. And if Coinbase, something drastic happens here and you see, whatever, I don't know what that would be, some sort of black swan tied to Coinbase or anything like that, those are like the worst potential scenarios in my head. So I'm long Coinbase, Tyler. I've not dug into these macro data points to suggest that the stock is going to be $350 or $400 or anything like that. Just on a really long time horizon, I'm long Coinbase.
Makes sense. I think that's broadly consensus. One thing that you mentioned that I'm going to pick up on and disagree with, you basically said crypto, you feel like crypto is inevitable, which I agree with, and that Coinbase is also inevitable. I'm not sure I agree. So I think the big risk that I see for Coinbase right now is banks being able to get into the custody game.
Yeah.
And if that happens, why are you going to hold your crypto and Coinbase if you could just hold it at Chase and have everything in one place?
I see that argument and hear that. I don't think there's a place there though, where all those hurdles are gone and banks are acting as if they are the current version of Coinbase, and Coinbase doesn't, innovate to make itself just as whatever they are. You know what I mean? There's all sorts of semantic arguments you can make here about what is a bank, what isn't a bank, whatever. But Coinbase would become those things, in my opinion, if it comes to that point. If Chase is acting like your version of Coinbase in the near future, Coinbase is going to do whatever necessary to act as if it's Chase. So if that's improving consumer protections for a wide variety of things, we were talking offline, Tyler, earlier this week about Coinbase Prime, and some of it's like, I think it protects like up to $100,000 worth of crypto should you get hacked or something like that. Like $100,000 is a lot of money. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But for a lot of crypto participants, that would not be suitable. They would not hold. Right. It's not going to cut it. Exactly. But, I think you would see those things change. Coinbase is going to, it has to. It's not going to let itself, it's been at the forefront of crypto innovation and adoption since its inception. I don't think Brian Armstrong and crew are going to just let the banks take over. Now, that's not to suggest that regulatory things won't drastically favor the banks, right, in the very near future. Who knows? A lot of old money there, a lot of connections. But yeah, I'm long Coinbase.
I'm not anti Coinbase, and I applaud everything they did. They were a huge part of the fight the last few years to get all like the regulatory chains off of the broader space. I think the bank adoption is just such a big issue for them. And I think your point is maybe they become a bank. I'm not going to bank at Coinbase. I'm not going to do that. I don't see a world where I would do that or many.
Why not though? I
already bank with Chase. Why am I going to root up all my credit cards and my mortgage and all these things to move? And so maybe I'm speaking too soon. The reality is they have a long way to go, right? Like people are getting their accounts frozen left and right. The only way to get your account unfrozen is to have 100,000 followers on Twitter and talk about it loudly. Like issues like that have to be resolved. 100K guarantee has to be resolved. There's a lot of things. Can it happen? Of course. I don't know. I'm just pointing out that is perhaps one reason why I'm not long.
Yeah.
I'm not short. I'm more in wait and see mode.
Yeah, I think that's the place to be. Because on the other side of this that we haven't discussed at all, you talk about banks as a competitor. Look at Hyperliquid, right? Like our on-chain things like Hyperliquid, is that a real threat to like major money? Of course, if Coinbase can open up perp trading to all of U.S. residents, etc., what happens to Hype? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ifs, ands, whatever could happen, but it presents itself obviously with some opportunity if you can work your way through these scenarios and sort of the second order effects.
Yeah, if I could bank with Hyperliquid, I 100% would. So, and thank you for reminding me to pull up the chart. It's a beautiful chart. It's one that I wanted to pull up anyway. Though it looks like it's bouncing off some local highs. Let's get to our next story because we have a lot on the docket here today, folks. You actually wrote this article for Decrypt, so I might just tee up and have you take over. But the big news out of OpenSea, got more details on the C token. We got more details on OpenSea 2.0. It's live in beta. It seems like you had a conversation with Derek Finzer, if I understand correctly.
Devin. Yep.
Devin, sorry. And yeah, I'd love to hear, your firsthand perspective. Just kind of recapping the announcement plus any vibes you got from Devin on how they've been building.
Yeah, so to recap the announcement, the OpenSea Foundation, clear distinction there. The foundation is launching the C token, SEA. So that's the ticker they've chosen for not just current users of OpenSea 2 or OS 2 platforms or recent users, but also to historical users. I know that was a big question mark for a lot of folks about how OpenSea and the foundation would potentially reward folks with a token if it were to come. Now, of course, we know that is coming. So that's the biggest part here, right? Is that the token that has long been speculated, long been yearned for by NFT traders is actually coming. We don't know exactly when. We don't know the details around tokenomics, but we do know a few key things that dispelled rumors that circulated earlier this week. There will not be a KYC requirement. An OpenSea Foundation spokesperson confirmed that to me directly, and U.S. users will be eligible to participate. If you remember earlier this week, there was some boilerplate language. This is from Devin. So he tweeted this out, I believe. Boilerplate language on a test website that was misconstrued as the facts, right? Not unlike crypto to jump to whatever they see first as fact. And those things are out of the way and have been squashed. So if you're an OpenSea user from 2021, if you're from the United States, you will be eligible for C tokens in some way, and you won't need to KYC in order to get them whenever they do come. So that's the big point. OpenSea 2, though, is the complete revitalization of OpenSea. And Devin was really forthcoming with me earlier this week when I got a chance to talk to him about, how long and painful this journey has been and how they really look to strip everything bare, cut it all the way down to its core and rebuild up. And I know if I'm not going to be able to remember the names off the top of my head, but if you were scanning Twitter in the last few days, you may have seen some of the OpenSea engineers talk about the journey as well, to kind of just, all the hard work to get to them where they are now, which is, a platform where folks can trade everything. Fungible tokens. So a lot of support coming soon to trade things like Pengu right on the Penguin page, things like Azuki right on the Anime right on the Azuki page. And those are things that I think everybody sort of wants, right? A one-stop shop to try to be able to trade everything instead of hopping between applications and deck screener and all these things. So that's what's coming in OS 2, a complete revamp. I have not personally really dug into the product too deep. It's been in closed beta for a while, right? You saw the closed beta announcements, the rumors about the XP stuff, which is true. There is a rewards program, an XP program for folks that are using the platform actively. Those things are all out there. I encourage you to go ahead and just dig in to learn more for yourself there. To wrap up, I know I've been around here, but I thought Devin, in my conversation with him, seemed very genuine and very measured in the sense that he knows, he recognizes where OpenSea's at. The community itself, NFT participants have been, I think ruthless is probably a fair way to assess, in their, I don't know, hatred, disdain almost, like it might be that far for OpenSea as a brand in the last year or two. And I think Devin fully recognizes that. And I think this is a real, you said it earlier offline, Tyler, like a kind of a chip on your shoulder type moment. They want OpenSea to succeed. They want a token to succeed. They want it to be a long-term thing. And they're going to do as best as they possibly can. The foundation in particular, he mentioned, is learning from other token drops, learning from the community about how to do this in the best way possible. So all those rumors you see circulating, the speculation about they're going to screw over 2021. They're going to do this, that, whatever. I don't know. Those tokenomics are not out. They're not available at this point in time. But I'm keenly aware that I think Devin is seeing all of it. The foundation is seeing all of it. They're going to do the best they realistically can. Will that mean a C token succeeds? Who knows? Are they going to, I think, like walk themselves onto the plank by, coming up with horrible tokenomics that the community is already railing against? I don't actually expect that. I know many people do expect that will be the case. I personally, I don't. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was a lot.
It was a lot. It was great though, and you arguably have as much personal insight as anyone, having talked with Devin firsthand. I said this I did a stream on Abstract yesterday. I'll share some of my thoughts again here. I think if you are rooting for OpenSea, if you are an OpenSea investor, or you are optimistic that you may get an airdrop and you don't want that airdrop to be worth zero, you have to love these comms. I think these comms were perfect. They addressed the FUD straight on. OpenSea, like they came out and said, US users are fine and OGs are going to be rewarded. Stop telling us that that's not. So stop complaining about that. I love some of these tidbits, like we're a smaller team, merging 6x the commits with half the team size. We got too big. We got too Web 2. Address it. It's over. You're moving past it. I love that. But what I love the most was addressing his haters. To all the haters, you made us better. To those who stuck with us, we're building the OpenSea you always believed in. Like that. This is the part of his message that made me think, okay, he's got the chip on the shoulder, which I love. I love when my founders have chips on their shoulders. So I think that's kind of what drives people the most. And he feels driven.
Yeah. I asked him about the leaner team thing. There's a comment directly from him in the article about they got too Web 2, right? And that's a trend that we've seen in this market. The same thing happened at Yuga Labs with Garga coming back. He said the exact same thing, right? Just happened with Doodles. Scott Martin taking over said basically the exact same thing. They want to be more Web3. They want to be more scrappy. They want to be crypto native. And that crypto native feel means a couple things. It means shipping things fast. It means there's a token involved, right? It means a lot of things that a lot of people, I think, again, yearned for. Nobody should be rooting. One of the weird things to me, Tyler, is it still seems like at least there's a pocket on my timeline that is rooting against OpenSea.
Yes, a huge pocket.
I don't understand that in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Will your airdrop be worth anything? No comment. Whatever. Who knows? But rooting against them just because you disliked they didn't ship enough over the course of the last few years or whatever. We're in a completely, in my opinion, we're in a completely different environment. 2021 doesn't happen without OpenSea, right? Everything's a little bit different, the butterfly effect type thing. Everything's a little bit different without OpenSea. Of course, and this is part of what I thought Devin did a great job of is like, I think he understands. He said, he talked about the long, painful journey to get to where they are now. They recognize it was not perfect over the course of the last few years. But rooting against them moving forward just seems so silly. Like, not only are you potentially rooting against your financial interests, should you be eligible for an OpenSea token, but you're also rooting against one of the bigger brands in this space and one of the bigger infrastructure components that would be necessary if you ever want to see an NFT season ever again. You need OpenSea probably, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems really weird to me to see so many people still like wanting to dunk on them when they have been very much, in my opinion, forthright about the fact that like, hey, things weren't as great as they could have been. We're going to do as much as we can to figure it out. And maybe it's just because they didn't communicate that earlier. I don't know, but at least they're trying now. And to me, that's worth something.
It's because crypto Twitter is full of haters. It's because negative posts get way more engagement and impressions than positive posts do. So that's why it's amplified on the timeline. Everyone just can't wait to say, oh, I'm going to full stack sell my OpenSea airdrop and move on. But like, all right, cool. I know, rooting for OpenSea. I love this. We've already spent like 10 minutes on this. Maybe quickly, I think the key question still is, why are people going to use the platform? Right? Like, we all use it every day in 2021. A lot of us, myself included, have stopped using it every day. So like, what is going to make me or you start using OpenSea 2.0 on a daily basis? Do you have an answer for that?
I'm not sure I do at present time. It is I'm not doing much NFT trading at this point in time, but actually, when I have bought and or sold of late, it's been very minimal. It has been through OpenSea, just because whatever. Some of that stickiness from 2021, whatever it happens to be. I don't know. I don't know. I need to fully dig around. Full transparency. I have not used OS2 yet.
Me either.
So it's difficult for me to really comment too much and shit on the platform without having tried it. But if all of those things are in one place, the ability to trade coins, tokens, fungible tokens, at low fees, gain exposure to things that I'd wish to gain exposure to, in one spot, I'm open to it.
Sure.
No pun intended. I don't know, though. It's going to be really difficult because it has not been the place for most of the active participants to go in the last 2 years.
So I use two sites primarily for all my trading. I use Jupiter and Uniswap. If OpenSea can really unlock this native cross-chain purchasing, if any of my EVM swaps that I'm thinking about doing, I can do on OpenSea, maybe that's what's going to get me in the door. So I think leaning into that makes absolute sense. And it seems like they get that. So we will certainly see. I need to spend some time digging into OS 2.0 as well. You mentioned, part of this was them admitting that they were Web 2, going Web 3. Fairly good analogy for Doodles.
Yeah.
A company that many thought Julian Hogan was Web 2 corporate. Again, I like Julian Hogan quite a bit. I think he did a very good job running Doodles, but he is out. And the news, they have introduced Dude, the official token of Doodles. Not a whole lot of info in the announcement post. We did get the tokenomics. It's going to be on Solana, another ETH NFT brand launching their token on Solana. 68% for the community, 10 billion tokens. So the unit bias is going to be a decimal behind your typical pump fund. So at $1, it would be a $100 million market cap. No, opposite. $1 would make it a $10 billion market cap, right? At 10 cents, it would be at 1 billion. So that's your unit bias. A little bit better than we typically see. I think it's slightly worse than Pingu would be from a unit bias perspective. Logan, I think you, first off, have been a longtime Doodles fan.
Yes. Yeah.
Gone through the evolution, the roller coaster, the leadership changes. How are you feeling about this? Does it make sense?
It's interesting. The article you have pulled up for anybody watching the stream, I highly, highly recommend anybody who is interested in this token read this article from Sander over at my colleague at the Crypt. Really eye-opening. He got to talk to Scott Martin, now CEO, but the artist and co-founder of Doodles. And again, disclosure, I do have some Doodles assets. They are Doodles 2 related, I believe. Maybe I have a duplicator still. I'm not entirely sure. So putting all that out there, and I am a Doodles fan. I love the color and I love the brand itself. I am highly uncertain about what about this token in particular. If you kind of read through this article, it mentions, of course, that things were corporate. I think Scott did a great job of detailing here that there are some things that didn't make a lot of sense. He gives the example of the Rubik's Cube drop, in which it's kind of cool to put Doodles assets on a Rubik's Cube, but it didn't really make a lot of sense to extract and put Doodles Rubik's Cubes collectibles on chain. What is that good for? I think those comments make a lot of sense, and that part is really refreshing. But as you continue to read, there's kind of the question about so what is this? And that's where it becomes a little less clear, right? And that's the question that has surrounded all of these NFT token drops, like Anime, like Pengu, is what exactly is this? Is it a meme coin? Is it a culture coin? What does it do in the future? And those are the questions that are really difficult to answer. And I'm not like, I don't mean to pick on Scott for not having a great answer to that, because I don't necessarily think that like any of the people dropping tokens have a great answer to it right now.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the thing you do, right? Some people see that as highly extractive, as a way to cash out. Some people see that as a way to reward their community. I think you can make arguments in any way. But reading this, it was eye-opening, and I don't want to take too much from the article. Again, I highly recommend you go read it and come to these things on your own. To me, this just feels a little late, to be quite honest. Does that mean it should have dropped it in 2021? I don't know. There's so much regulatory uncertainty about what to do. That's part of this as well. Every company now sees the opportunity to do this, and so why not, right? I get that to a certain degree, but it's tough, man. I think it's just a little bit too late.
It's tough to launch the coin.
I can't foresee this. I'm rooting for Doodles as a brand. I think it has a great opportunity. It's already done a fantastic job. Those Web 2 partnerships, in which Scott does allude that they will continue. The things with Pharrell, the McDonald's partnerships, like those are significant wins for our space, in my opinion. I'm rooting for Doodles for sure. But I don't foresee a world in which this token does anything but replicate the charts you're showing right now.
Yeah, for those in the stream, I'm sharing the anime coin chart, the Pingu chart, and I'm a Pudgy holder, a Pingu holder. I can't deny like what's been happening with these NFT tokens, right? We had a nice pump on Pingu into Trump Sunday. Since Trump Sunday, it's gotten decimated like every other coin in the meme market. Unfortunately for anime, it launched later. So it was more impacted. It's basically been down only. So I think the question is, what is Doodles going to be able to do to avoid this chart? I guess if they can somehow open the token low and not open it a couple 100 million, maybe that's one way. But I feel like people, once you have this chart, people just get so fixated on it, rightfully or wrongfully.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, Pingu is what, 600 million? Like it is still a tremendously high market cap coin that anyone would objectively call a success. Yeah, it's at $1 billion, 950 million FDV.
Yeah,
but the chart looks bad and people don't like it. I don't know what Doodles is going to be able to do to fix that. I will say, like, this is a very interesting article. I do recommend people read it. This makes me a little nervous. So first, it's going to hit the market as a meme coin. Then as U.S. securities laws are navigated, a utility coin. That's great. But what I don't love here is the team has drawn up plans to dangle a large, expensive sculpture from the ceiling and let users spend DOGE tokens to slowly lower it, allowing the audience to finish the story. I was a little nervous when things sound like they're being turned over to the community, because the community isn't going to run this token. It absolutely needs a team to drive the project forward and any kind of a vision for the token.
If you scroll down just a little bit more, Tyler, that next graph, sorry, you go up a little bit. There's a, just below where you're at, sorry. There's a point where Sander basically asks, does the company really need to launch its own speculative token to enable the destruction of a rare artwork? And after a minute of thought, Scott says, we have a fiduciary duty to bring value to our holders. Dude could be a very competitive and valuable asset in this new market.
Okay. Interesting.
Again, I'm not knocking anybody for launching a token now that it feels like shackles are off for launching a token. I love tokens. Airdrop them to me. I'm not mad about people launching tokens, but it's really hard. It's an unenviable position to get to this point. Yeah. And the utility aspect, like, I think that's a gimmicky, unique way to build in some sinks, but people don't give a shit. Pengu's burned 13.69% of the supply. Nobody cared. Pengu's on Coinbase spot trading. Nobody cares. Like, it is remarkably difficult. And as you spread out those tentacles in a way in which it feels like you're doing a great thing by offering an opportunity for folks to get into the ecosystem, you're actually just kind of walking your way back into that proliferation argument that we had in NFTs in 2021, 2022, which is you've just created more assets for people to buy or not. And like, I don't know. I don't envy the Doodles team in this regard. At the same time, I totally understand why they would potentially go this route. And I'm rooting for all of these projects because they're important and they're fun. And these things are good for the space, in my opinion, to have more than just payments, to have more than just DeFi, which we all want. I think we want a robust Web3 crypto ecosystem. You need some of these things to succeed in order to have that, in my opinion.
I think one of the core theses behind NFT projects launching tokens was an expansion and the ability to get more holders into an ecosystem. Have we accomplished that?
I'm bearish that token.
Have any teams really been able to prove that yet? So high level, I think the verdict is still out on this whole NFT token meta. It's too soon to call it a failure or success. I think the pessimists out there are winning right now.
Yeah.
And certainly saying that, okay, these NFTs pumped because of the token and now they're back down to their rightful prices. And now they've got no future levers.
Yeah.
And they weren't really able to meaningfully expand the community.
The holder point is really interesting to me, Tyler, because that was something that was championed as part of Pengu, for example. 7 million eligible wallets. And then they burned 14% of the pie because the remaining wallets were, to them, bots, right? Like, you can't have both things, in my opinion. You can't be championing the fact that you have so many people, sorry, not necessarily people, but wallets eligible to claim this, and then also like shut off the ability for all those wallets to claim this. It's just, it's a little funky to me. I don't think those metrics really are mattering too much at this point in time. And it's not a point of, it's not a catalyst. More wallets in this market at this exact moment in time. It's not a catalyst.
I'm trying to pull up how many holders. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, just say like I had a little comment on this. Oof, look at that chart.
575,000 holders. That's the number I was looking for.
I found the bottom though. Look at that. It's rounding out a little bit, right?
I think it is.
Yeah, like my commentary is less on the actual, like, should they do a token or not, and more about just like the structural way in which they went about it. Because like I get the desire is those holder numbers that you're talking about, the several million, but I still just think long term fracturing these communities, even in the name of distribution amongst like 9 different chains and like whatever, like I don't think it'll be a net benefit long term. Doodles, like Pengu did it, Doodles is now doing it, right? Doodles has a strong affiliation with Base, right? They moved their collection from Flow over to Base, and then like all of a sudden they yeet their stuff over into Solana. Pengu has mainnet NFTs. That's where their holders are. They now have Abstract, which I assume is where a lot of those NFTs may migrate, or they're going to do some expansion there at some point. But yeeting some stuff over on Solana, and like it's just, even though for them they can try to make a cohesive environment, it's still just your users are in one place. That means their NFTs receive the benefits of all the applications that are also in that one place, right? If you're on Base, like just as an example, if you're on Base, you have a Doodle, and your Doodle gives you benefits in Aerodrome. Aerodrome is a Base native application. Like, this is your home. These are the apps you're getting familiar with. Aerodrome is probably not going to like integrate Solana, or at least not specifically for your thing. So now the applications that your users are used to have to try to support everything, or they're going to be fractured, right? Like, oh, I want to lend, but I got this thing. I can't use Aerodrome. I got to use Marinade, and I got to use this other thing. And it's just like, it creates this user education journey that is just like, I don't know that you can recover from long term. Pups did the same thing, right? They had to eventually burn their bridge on their stuff on Solana, and like that creates a situation where you have to go, oh, sorry guys, you missed a cutoff. I just evaporated 20 grand out of your wallet, right? You like, we're done doing this service. And like long term, I'm not bullish on it.
Very fair point. And we will certainly see how this pans out. It seems like it's probably going to be Q1. We don't really have date on the Doodles token. We don't really have date on the OpenSea token either. I would guess Doodles is before OpenSea. I could see OpenSea being.
We're talking Kaido now, Tyler.
Let's get into it. Red,
Kaido token.
With us. Let's talk about Kaido token. It's on my list. Here we are. So set the stage. This week has been a huge week of social airdrops for Kaido power users. We had Barachain, Anime Coin, Story Protocol and their IP token, and then also this Quai. I can't vouch for Quai as much. I haven't had a chance to dig into that one.
I know the team. I'll vouch for them. They're good guys. Yep. American made. Yep.
Oh, we love American made crypto.
Yeah.
American
On
made.
on this
Out
show.
of Texas.
Fantastic. Well, that's good to hear, because I was going through the website and I was a little bit nervous because I hadn't had a chance to dig in. But we'll put that aside. 4 social airdrops for Kaido Power users. And then this morning, we got the news introducing the Kaido token and entering the new era of attention and info fi. They go to talk a little bit about what they're building, the developments with Kaido Connect. And then they talk about the token, 3 roles, driving market forces, serving as a network currency, enabling community governance. So Brett, I feel like you're chomping at the bit to comment on this one. So reactions to Kaido, and is this the best iteration of SocialFi we've seen?
It is fun. And I obviously I haven't been actively farming or doing stuff, but I do have deep exposure to it because I've been successful in the protocol just by nature of what I do. Right? I got two NFTs, right, and those are pumping this morning.
Congrats.
And then I'm actually in the picture on this thing, so I'm a top 10 Yaps holder. So I love the numbers people are throwing around. But I've been burned before, so I'm not getting my hopes up. If it's a hyper liquid for InfoFi, hell yeah, I'm eating. I love it. And let's see where this thing can go. I think ultimately, I am excited about Kaido as a platform. Obviously, we're using it as Mega ETH, right? We just got this thing because, frankly, if you're not building something like this in house, there's not a lot of good tools out in the world to sit there and actually analyze social sentiment stuff on CT, monitor the discussion, and then isolate and give those things back to the users, right? So it is a really good tool, right? And that's why you're seeing teams leverage this stuff, because Story Protocol in the old days, if you're going to try and figure out who's talking about you on CT and who you should distribute stuff back to, it's you have to sit there and scrape Twitter, right, which is what they're doing, or you just sort by scanning our name and then sorting by most interactions, which can be botted to shit, right? There's no natural civil restriction stuff there. See there, look at me and you, we're kissing on that one.
Wow,
hell yeah. But yeah, so I think it is a good platform. It's not perfect, but it is good. We need this, and obviously there's clear demand for it because we're getting 3 projects coming, doing the voting stuff, the Kaido Connect thing week over week. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I'm deeply exposed to it. So great. I hope it does great for that reason.
Brad, you're 12th in the Yap leaderboard basically over the entire time frame of this thing. You're top 12, and on the month, you're top 10. Incredible. Yeah. You are incredible.
They like nerds.
Indeed. For real quick tangent. All right. So what's the secret to your success? A lot of people want to know, how can they earn Yap points?
I wish I could tell you. I think if I just think of why I've been successful, again, I haven't been intentionally farming this thing. I just know that I think you who came up with his initial algo, his algo looks for one, authentic content. So not something that could be deemed as either repetitive or from someone else, okay, original content. And then 2, just if the AI model that they have sees an exchange back and forth as something a little more meaningful, outside of just LOL, GM, whatever, and there's actually an exchange there, that's what earns a Yap. So how to actually do it, I haven't reverse engineered. I just though one, I try to have a pretty diverse topic of stuff, and then 2, it's pretty Ethereum centric. I think he's an Ethereum dude, so I post about Ethereum L2s, and because it's a deeper level stuff. It's not just, it's it has to be some technical knowledge. I think it just passes the bar pretty easily for the AIs. Oh, this requires some expertise or something, and then that gave me credit. So I was just fortunate that he honed in on my sector early on, my sector being Ethereum nerd content, and then because through that I've accumulated.
You're number 1 on the pre-TGE Yapper board. Number 1.
That's the place you want to be.
Incredible. So yeah, that is quite literally where you want to be, because what we're seeing now, Polkadot is running a large marketing campaign, and they are going to, instead of paying traditional KOLs and doing backdoor KOL deals, they're going to do it via Kaido, and they're going to pay the top yappers that marketing money. And I love that direction. Like, how could you not like that? I think the negative side is, okay, we're going to have more people talking about Polkadot who actually don't care about Polkadot. Yep. And it's going to be spam on the timeline. But isn't that still a more merit-based model than just paying Ansem?
Yes, I think so. The counter to that is that it is still unfair, depending on how they actually do it. It's still unfair for the small guy, which and as an example of this, right? If you go to the Mega ETH one, go to wherever it's, click that, right? Whale is going to be pretty high on here. Yeah. Like whale mocha is, 2.2%. And that's, he yeeted out 1 or 2 tweets about the NFT thing. And just because he did that one tweet, and that tweet said Mega ETH in it, it's a strict text thing. And because he has natural good distribution because of his account, all of that feeds into just even if no one else from our social graph, this social graph here you see here, that I'm the center of, if no one in this social graph even interacts with that, blows it up, does whatever, just him with his native mindshare distribution, following, influence, impressions, whatever, will cast him pretty high inside of that impressions thing. Yeah. So I would like to see the model refined a little bit to see who has mindshare within the social graph of what makes up Mega ETH here. I think that would be more justifiable, because I have people in here that are small that I've elevated, tried to elevate, that are they're putting out great content, but they only got 700 followers, right? So I can only amplify them so much, and I try to get them stuff, and they're all about Mega ETH. They're very intellectual, whatever, and I would say they have big mind share within the social graph that is Mega ETH, but they're not really detected yet.
Yeah, that's fair criticism. At the same time, if we're being realistic, where are you going to direct your marketing funds? Are you going to direct it to Wally, who gets 1 million impressions, or are you going to Joe Schmo down the street, who wrote an incredible thread, but only 17 people read it?
Yeah.
I feel like
you got to have both, right?
Yeah, I think that's totally fair, and I get that. I have a small account, relatively speaking, especially compared to you two on stream here. And so I'm not farming yaps really actively or anything like that. I don't get many of them. And so, I understand the frustrations from a smaller account that you're not getting them, right? Because you're not getting the impressions. But at the same time, you guys have worked to build the accounts that you have, so that doesn't make me mad. But I, at the same time, do understand frustrations. One of the things that I have a frustration about is not related to the Polkadot thing, but the story protocol one from yesterday, for example. Why are you just giving tokens to anybody who's the top yapper, as opposed to people who are yapping about your thing?
Sure.
That part does not make a whole lot of sense to me, and is a little bit of a cause for concern for additional spam on the timeline, which we've already seen plenty of, about I've earned this many yaps, I'm going to do this, blah, 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 whatever. That this just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I'm not mad about that, because I've tweeted about story protocol before and not gotten the points, but me tweeting about story protocol is more valuable probably than somebody who's never tweeted about it ever, giving them tokens, right? They're just going to dump them. And I get it. That's the airdrop thing. Most people are going to get the tokens and dump them anyway, but I think you should at least reward the people who are tweeting about your topic for, your pre-TGE topic. The Brett called the social graph for Mega ETH, whatever. That makes way more sense to me. I'm totally fine with that. It does not make a whole lot of sense to me to just blanket give the things to just anybody with a top yapper score. That's when you're just rewarding the KOLs, right, for no apparent reason. That's silly to me.
I guess the intent, the thought is oh, if we give this to them, they'll talk about it, right? And then they'll talk about it. You get the marketing, right?
Yeah, that's the thought.
I guess, but you already gave them the tokens.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the incentive's gone now.
Yeah, it's not a perfect model, but I think that's what's so interesting about Kaido to me. And I'm showing the Moonboy math. It's Friday, Moonboy Friday.
That's what it's about. Remember doing this with Friendtech? $100, $10. Well, I don't even remember the numbers anymore.
Yes, I mean there are people out there who are writing threads about how these Kaido yaps are going to be worth $100 a piece. And my God, I hope they're right.
My God, yes.
But I don't think they will be. But putting that aside, just wrapping a bow on this, I think where this model, where I think Kaido can be really valuable is unlocking this marketing machine. And then like Sammy was posting about how like there's an agentic component. Well, like AI agents come through and pay for social data to know who they should market to. Like it's valuable data. I think it's pretty hard to argue against that. And like I think one of the arguments against Kaido is like, oh, it's just NFT Inspect 2.0. Well, NFT Inspect didn't get nearly this far down the road with like actually being able to monetize this type of data. Kaido has.
And X is already showing willingness to like want to open up their API to like keep enabling stuff like this, right? Like they did that with the AI agents where everyone's like, bro, these things die the second you shut off the API. But like X came out whatever month ago and they're like, look, dedicating a team. They even reached out to Sammy, right? Sammy, I had a DMs with someone from the X API team. They're like, hey, they wanted to make sure we set this stuff up for you. So like that might prove to be good for long-term outlook for this. Like it can be sustainable. They can continue to iterate on it and let them be propped up before getting their legs cut out from underneath them.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. We got a few topics I still want to get to. We spent a good amount of time on OpenSea, Doodles, and Kaido, which we need to do. Brad, real quick, do we have you for more than the 7 minutes? Can we run a little long, or do you have a hard cut?
Yeah. No, I'm golden.
All right, let's quickly do a couple rapid fire headlines. So we've got CZ Binance. He gave us the name of the dog. The dog's name is Broccoli. He told the whole dog's story. What he did not do was give anyone a contract address. So it led to total chaos. Dozens of Broccoli tokens launched. Most of them or all of them almost rugged. It seems like we have one winner. The winner now, oh my gosh, so this thing hit. Wow, so the winning Broccoli token did hit 220 million. It looks like it wicked close to 3. It's sitting at 150 million right now. So I was kind of having this debate. I didn't choose to go into BNB world. I didn't play any of this.
Same.
I thought the ceiling on CZ's dog was 200 to 300 million. It looks like it went there the first day. So I mean, anyone who bought this,
one of them went there, right? There was the like bundle scam that went to like 9 gajillion, right, and then tanked after. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of these.
A lot of losers, but if you waited for the one to be kind of shown as the winner, so like last night at 6:30, this one was 100 million. Like that is pretty clearly the winner at that point. So if you bought that, you had a chance for a 2x.
God, look at that start though.
this was what was wild. It was 360 and then fully rugged. Like I thought it was over. And then somehow this one was the winner. Like good luck trading this. Like good luck. Imagine being early to this. And then this happens.
Psychological trauma.
Just psychological warfare.
Sorry, Tyler. I wrote about this yesterday for Decrypt. The things that astound me here, aside from the fact that like literally hundreds of Broccoli tokens were launched, which is funny, is the volume is absurd. Within the first hour, so I was writing about this yesterday, like basically right after it launched. And within like the first hour and a half, it had already had like $150 million in volume. Yeah. Closer to
it's like about $1 billion across pools. Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely wild volume for a CZ dog token. It's just crazy. The other crazy part to me is I don't know if you've spent any time on his feed about this whole thing because he telegraphed this. He gave people about a 3-hour heads up, I believe, that he was going to do this. This has been a meta long before, right? People guessing it or not guessing, right? Sleuthing Instagram posts about people's dogs and whatever. The thing that is a little funky to me is him acting like he doesn't understand what's happening here.
Oh, it's pretty funny. I don't know how meme coins work. I run the biggest crypto exchange.
Just a little funky. Like literally last week, dude, you posted a meme coin link and the token went to 500 million. Like, come on. You know what's going on here, bro.
Do you think BNB season's gonna last?
No. I don't know. I don't think so. I think most of the participants are still actively playing, of course, in Solana. And it's difficult to make those changes. You know, just as we were talking about with OpenSea and beyond, like it's tough to get you to go somewhere else, especially when the friction is low. It's very low in trading on Solana. It's higher trading on BNB, in my opinion. So I don't foresee.
Wasn't there just an AVAX trench, like a trench season in AVAX too? Is that still going on? Like.
It is. Yeah, let's go to that. So this Wink token, a pre-sale that just flew right by me, and I slammed my fist on the table when I learned about it.
I'm hearing some big numbers.
30. Anyone who did the max, I think you could do a 15 AVAX or 35 AVAX. Anyone who did the max bid made $100,000 if they held it for a day.
Yep. But you get shamed. You get shamed if you sell.
And
that's
you get shamed for a day.
Yeah, right. That's part of the game at this point.
I'm fudding this one.
The volumes are. I mean, looking at this AVAX board for the first time, you're seeing my initial reactions live because I have nothing. These are pitiful volumes. Like these are runes. These are runes volumes almost.
Does that speak to like the professional degen casino that is Solana and BNB? Like you were going through that broccoli thing. I was like seeing the 95 in there, and each of them has 150 million plus in volume. Some of them 400 or 500 million. It's like, what does the prop shop have to have ready to go day one? Like, all right, token launch. Boom, you have to be able to launch the token. You have to be able to pay for the ad, right? Because all like 6 of the top 7 are sponsored broccolis. Then you have to be able to deploy a volume bot that can actually make you compete on the thing. So these are starting to get to be sophisticated operations to like make these real.
It's industrialized now, which also makes me not really want to play. And that's why I'm kind of out of the trenches right now, other than playing clear winners. But even that, like I had the jail stool chart up. Let's pull it back up.
Yeah, it didn't look great.
This was the clear winner of last weekend. It seemed like it was grinding back up. It got back to 100 million. I don't really know if there's any reason for the sell-off. So I think the whale he made a ton on Trump and he put 7 million into jail stool. He sold the position, took a $5 million loss as he exited. So that was a rough trade. And we saw an initial rebound, but still kind of grinding down. I don't know.
Attention's so fleeting, man.
This is purely an attention coin. Dave is a tremendous KOL, but like I feel like it's a momentum. It's a momentum / attention, and when the momentum is bad, it's like how are you going to turn this around? So
it just becomes so normalized, right? Like, and every one of these, like I think all it changes is the magnitude of the initial move, right? Iggy Azalea, boom, like. Magnitude of the move, she's in the space, it garners attention from everyone, but then everyone's like, it becomes normal at some point, like, oh yeah, he just has it, so like I have no interest in it, like he just has it, like I'm not, that's just a thing, right? It becomes normalized. There's no longer a shock factor. There's no longer like it's nothing worth talking about, and like if you're not talking about it, it's dying, right? So I think that it just bleeds. I don't know how
this one really turns around from here. So we will see. One token that is turning around is Jupiter. So yesterday they announced official buybacks start Monday, 50% of protocol fees, locking those tokens for 3 years. Jupe was one of the top movers on my list here on the day. Let's see, so up 16%, 96 cents. Wow. So quite the move. People who went long Jupe are feeling good about that one. We like that trend. It seems like something big is coming for Hype today as well. Another next gen DeFi token. It's grinding up, folks.
Yep.
Higher lows every day on this one. I think spot Bitcoin is the rumor for the next piece of news.
Oh, interesting.
It's here. Not any volume yet, but it's on the list now for spot trading. No one's been able to trade it yet. So look out for that from Hype. ARK had a big news yesterday. They launched their first token on the ARK Launchpad. It was the Ask J token. That is their AI trading platform. It was the first to launch on Forge, which is ARK's new Launchpad. So trading platform is Ask J, Jimmy. Forge is the name of their Launchpad for ARK on Solana. I think the front end had issues yesterday. It went down during the mint. I was AFK. I wasn't able to mint this one. The token went initially surged right to 60 million, then down, and then kind of has been trading in this 20 to $25 million channel. Logan, I think you've been following the ARK story. Not sure if you were active around Ask J yesterday. Any thoughts or reactions?
Yeah, I've been following ARK for a long time, of course, as one of the leaders of AI meta. And I think the last few weeks, not last few weeks, feels like weeks, the last couple days of its resounding strength when compared to, other market tokens. Pretty clear signal to me. It's always been one of those first ones to bounce back. So it does really feel like a very clear winner not financial advice, of course, and still very much off all-time highs. They get to 700 million or something like that.
Briefly up to 6, but basically 530 is kind of the all-time high.
Right. And if you're still, if you still want to have exposure to AI tokens here, beyond things like Tau or whatever, which, get you outside of the trenches, perhaps, this feels like a really great place to at least, focus some attention and give some time to understanding what's going on here. I'm out of the loop specifically in regards to Forge and the Ask Jimmy stuff. I knew they were coming, so I've seen the tokens. I don't exactly understand. I remember asking you actually yesterday, Tyler, like, does it really make sense for me to be buying these tokens if I could just buy ARK, right? Like they seem in ways to be beta to ARK. And
of course,
there's the discussion to be made about where the ratio of the beta play to the alpha should be. Maybe it shouldn't be 11, 12 to 1 or whatever it is right now. But to me, I mean, like if you want to not pay attention every single day, but still have exposure to the AI ecosystem on Solana, there's no better place to probably at least give some attention to ARK.
I think becoming the index play. I think ARK has become the AI index play in this new meta. Because like virtuals was too expensive. AI 16Z has got too many risks and the chart looks terrible. ARK has the best chart. It's new. It's on Solana. Price action has been good. Even yesterday, so they kind of fumbled the launch with the site breaking and then bad price action. It sold off immediately. It went all the way to 285, but then now back to 360. So there was clearly buyers waiting for that one. So I think the overall view on ARK is still very positive. AI kind of is just a chop week for AI, $7.5 billion. So I'm sure we'll get more into the weeds next week on that.
That was up to like 15 billion, right? Total 22 is top. Wow.
Yeah, so we're still 70% off all-time highs. Before we wrap up the show, I want to I'm going to put Brad and Logan on the spot for their top myriad bets for this poker tournament. Before we get into that, though, Brad, let's talk Mega ETH here. It was a huge week for you guys. You did it's a very
successful sale,
$13 million NFT sale. It seems like the team, I think you folks have been sharing like lessons learned. I guess maybe kind of walk us through the week, how to go from your perspective, and how's the team feeling on Friday?
It went well in that we sold out and that we no one lost funds, like everything was safe. It didn't go as well as we planned with just handling the influx of demand and then just like the general load rollout of the tech, all that stuff. We were working with a third-party team to get this stuff spun up, and frankly we just didn't give it enough time to like truly vet everything that they had produced. So once the ticker was going, we announced the thing is coming, and they it was committed to us. After like working through some of that shit after that, like the timer was started, it wasn't up to snuff. So lessons learned of like do all those things before you kick off the actual event. And then just like this is the phase 1 of 2, right? So the first one was that's funny.
Incredible shit post here.
He did. That one's Namek. I'll give him credit. He's amazing. So yeah, like so funny. I remember sending that to team. It was a banger. So that was lessons learned. But first of 2 waves, right? So we had this one, which is retroactive based on wallets of like historically owned NFTs, actions you've taken, donations, like Tornado Cash, all this shit, right? AML, like we like to be able to say the things that we said, right? The team said 5% of the network at a minimum, it will be adjusted. It's dynamic. Like to be able to say that you're going to get those things like upfront before you buy the actual thing. Like we had to follow some rules, right? Like AML compliance. Like that was a curveball for us having to have that in a live environment. A lot of people got murked for it, right? If they had like fundings from even like I had friends that were reaching out saying like, bro, I'm trying to do this. And it's saying I can't because like some of my funds are from Shuffle, right? The dude just gambles a lot. He's like, now that fails the AML check because it's, it's seen as kind of like a wash trading thing potentially. So like trying to do lessons learned on that for everyone. And then just, making sure the app's better. So for the next phase, like we'll have a little bit better distribution because there'll be people that will actually be able to like play on testnet and like have social sentiment, some other things that are proactive rewards as opposed to just like looking back at historical stuff. And then, the app will be refined, obviously, because we have much more time to work on it.
Yeah, I'm curious for your thoughts on folks out there who maybe missed the first mint and want to get in for the next one, what I've said is, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Well, the writing on the wall is Mega ETH is starting to roll out synopses of these new apps that are coming. I feel like there's an opportunity for folks to become the alpha for the Mega ETH apps, right? TLDRs. And give us the recast. I'm curious for your thoughts on what you might say would be.
I mean, involved. Like if you read the original blog post again, we were explicit and like it's a lot of words. Like that's one of the lessons learned for us. One, like just being an NFT, like pierced a lot of social circles that we never would have reached otherwise because people straight up just were fudding us because they thought we were a PFP collection coming to market. It's like that was hilarious to see that progression of like, oh, it's actually a L2 with like all this shit. But then in the original post, it's very verbose, a lot of words to it, but it was just like first wave is retroactive based on, again, historical stuff. We didn't have a test net, we don't have apps, we don't have anything. But the next 5K is proactive. And in that proactive stuff, we say right there, like allocations is actually going to be given to the Mega Mafia program, which is our accelerator, right? I say we have 18 teams now that are building on Mega, doing all this stuff. Like that tweet was from me. And as the phases, but like every week we have a new team that's being revealed, another 2 next week. We're giving them the allocation. Like they get to determine who their users are to then like bootstrap, right? So we say that and on top of like social sentiment stuff, analysis, Kaido, right? Kaido is another thing. So like we're using those tools to say who's going to be the person or people that are contributing actively to our ecosystem, whether it's on testnet, on X, across platforms, whatever. And they're the ones that are going to be given the opportunity.
Love that. Are any of these apps jumping out to you out of the gate? Or are you not allowed to really give any preference?
Every
teams.
So I know I talked last week or whenever I came on. I tell you guys about Euphoria. Euphoria is the one.
But refresh me. A lot's happened since you came out.
Yeah, it's the tap trading one. So it's made by a so it's like it's perps trading, but it's gamified with confetti, like whatever. This one is like it's one of the AI people that are building on it, and they're really leaning into like the loneliness sector, which is kind of like unabashedly, like if you click on their site, like bro, up front, it's like you can gen up a furry to like.
I'm super long on these, dude. I think this is a slam dunk idea.
I interviewed a Sexbot founder, so I certainly.
It's the same shit. And it's like, these guys are like, dude, loneliness is a problem, right? You see like what OnlyFans is doing, like all this stuff that people are going into. And so they've made this, and these are successful Web2 people. These guys already have a shit ton of users for this stuff, right? And they're like, it's multimodal. So like it actually builds a relationship to you is through like voice text. Like you have a voice text, you can have an actual phone call, you have chats. So it's not like just the slot bot, like chat, like on Twitter, Xbot. It's like a curated experience that actually is like interactive, long-term, whatever. And remembers you, and you can build a meaningful relationship. And they're like, yeah, man, we're gonna fucking we're really diving into like people need like a companion, and we're just gonna be the companion.
They're gonna dominate. They're gonna dominate.
I am long Nectar.
These types of things, not necessarily Nectar, but something like this is going to be just absolutely absurdly valued in the future. Yeah.
Looking up the OnlyFans, I looked that up before I made that tweet. OnlyFans fucking the rev last year was, what was it, like 6 billion? Like it's up only. Up
it's
only.
wild.
And it was like 700 million the year before.
It's wild.
But the only thing that's going to cut into OnlyFans revenue is apps like Nectar, right? Like I feel like that's how you dent OnlyFans. Wow. I mean
when you think about it, they're making money on like chats, right? Like people are thinking they're chatting with the girl. The girl has hired out like 7 dudes to write for her and act like her. So like that, you're still limited by human output, right? So like this scales that.
Yeah, it's infinitely scalable.
Yep.
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm sorry, I was gonna segue a little. I really like Bread. I've been following a little bit Noise, the trend.
Yeah.
That one looks really, really cool. I've been sort of following and gathering along for reporting purposes. But that one to me is, just looking. I love the new innovative takes on. I don't know the
Noise
handle.
XYZ, maybe.
All right.
Go tell you what, go do this. Go just do Mega Mafia. There you go, top one. and then do the following.
Okay.
See the ones that are, and then it's on here. Euphoria is one.
Noise right there,
yeah, that one.
All right. So tell me about the slogan.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, just from what I've seen via the tweets, but the platform for trading trends. I mean, it kind of spells it out for you. To this would be like, hey, you think AI is going to be massive, you bet on AI, right? Versus picking ARK or picking Fartcoin or picking whatever. So you can be early to a trend and not feel bad about missing the one stupid coin that you didn't own, right? Is that the gist, Brett? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, good visual for this. Go to the following on this, and then the founders. Let's go to Luca. He does a lot of visuals on this, yeah. And then just do media. If you do media, you'll see maybe some visuals that he's spun up. He's done some good ones, like the little further down. No, not this stuff. It'll be they're clean visuals. So like that one's one where like this one you could long the mind share. Like you didn't get it in the NFT, but long the mind share because everyone's gonna be talking about it, kind of thing.
So you can trade Kaido data in a way. It's like
basically it's kind of like mind share. So like they're gonna. It's not even, and it's not specific to Kaido, but it like Kaido can very literally be like one of the things that they pull in for their Oracle, right? So like you could do very literally Kaido mind share of like a KOL or something like that, right? So like an example would be Broccoli just launched, right? 75 tickers day one. You don't know what's going on. Maybe you don't want to like long, like choose one of those because you might get fucked, frankly. So like maybe you want to long CZ as mind share. Like CZ is going to continue to pump this stuff. He's going to grow. And so like if you get too specific, you run into liquidity problems that like poly market faces, right? Like it's too niche, not a lot of stuff. So at a higher level, stuff works out. So yeah, like this one's one. Another one's like being long mind share of ETH. It's like one tweet I did was like, if you're in like hashtag ETH, pivot to like quote hashtag ETH, because the mind share on ETH was going up, but it was tanking still.
Right.
So like,
it's interesting. It's an emotional hedge. So
yeah,
you were annoyed that you're going to have Polkadot information all over your feed because of this Kaido marketing campaign, but you know it's probably going to work, so you can at least go long Polkadot mindshare and make some money off of it. Well, that makes sense. Some cool apps. Clearly, I guess, Brad, just kind of wrapping up with this. What should our listeners, viewers know about Mega ETH? Like, or what should they be paying attention to? Like for the next couple of weeks? Is it time to check out? Is it time to check in? Like, what's the message?
We're recalibrating now, cleaning up stuff from all the stuff from the NFT testnets in like 20-25 days. So that'll open the floodgates, get builders in there. Like these guys have been on private testnet, so they can do some of their own building to be ready for day one, but it'll probably still only be like one or two apps. And then testnet opens, some of these programs start going, and we start working through that. You can start feeling the chain, right?
Nice. Well, it's exciting. Definitely encourage folks to really start locking in on Mega ETH. A lot going on. These apps already are some really cool apps. Before we wrap up, I am going to put Logan and Brett on the spot. So folks, quick shout out to Myriad. Myriad has launched their first real money markets tied to this Diamond Hands poker event that's going to take place in Paris on Saturday. That is tomorrow. You can bet with Pingu. So they're not USDC. These are Pingu markets. And Luca kind of said they're going to burn the Pingu. So this is a Pingu token sync tied to this. Folks,
nice.
The bets are pouring in. We've got over 2.5 million, no more now. So 1.8, 2.4, looks like over 2.5 million Pingu bet now across these markets. You've got Farouk versus Luca. Who wins the largest pot? Will anyone hit a 4 of a kind? Will anyone win a hand with a 7-2? Ansem versus Ponzi Trader. And then this new market I haven't even seen, Monkey versus Glebel. So you can bet on hands. You can bet on individual performers and who will win larger pots or have the most chips. So Logan, I'll go with you since you have more time to prepare. What's your top bet?
Yeah. So this was actually, to me, this was a kind of an easy one looking at this board. And full disclosure, I am not eligible to participate in these markets, so I have not made this bet. But to me, just looking at this board, I think Farouk wins the largest pot when compared to Luca. And I have a little bit of rationale there to justify this decision. Luka, by all accounts, is very strategic, very measured. He's going to play the hands that he should play, and so of course it's going to lend him to potential to win big pots. Farouk to me feels like a wild card who is more likely to go all in at just some random juncture and win, in some showdown type thing. And so that's why, to me, in looking at these, of course, not financial advice, but the Farouk in just a coin flip or a little bit less, right? I liked Farouk here at 45%.
He's underdog now, 45%. So
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I think he's gonna play some weird hand, and it might be so much that he plays like a 2-7 hand. Who knows?
Oh boy,
that lends itself to a big pot. Yeah.
Imagine that scenario. Brad, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What's your top bet here?
That's where I was gonna go, actually, the 17, because like it's not a professional, like uber professional. I mean, like, I'm sure people have played before, but like it's gonna be kind of a degen YOLO, like people that are all skill levels are participating in this, which means like it's gonna be hard to read, it's gonna be hard to do stuff, and people are gonna play maybe less traditional stuff, just as like a LOL kind of thing. So I'm gonna say the 7-2 actually gets played and actually wins in some weird situation, just because like you end up in an outcome that frankly is like never would have materialized in a professional scene.
Yep, I like
so
that.
Barrett, you like Farouk. You also like 7-2. 7-2 is interesting at 30.
You're gonna do the parlay. Do Farouk 7-2.
I wish I could parlay the bets. So I'm on the disclosure. I'm on Farouk. I'm also on the no 7-2, and I'm on the no 4 of a kind. So I'm betting on things.
I'll do no 4 of a kind.
Yeah, I think that one's sharp.
So we'll see. It's been fun. It's been Myriad has been just points bets up until now, so it's been fun to have their first real money markets, and people are responding to it. So
this is on Abstract, right?
This is on Abstract. So, how I usually navigate to the site actually is I go to Abstract to the Discover tab. Myriad is a featured app.
Right there.
I just launch right from there. So it's a pretty easy flow. Again, you'll need Pingu. So if you have USDC or ETH on Abstract, do a swap for Pingu. And then it just works like your traditional prediction market. So if you use Polymarket, it will be very similar over on Myriad. So go check that out, folks. Those markets will close at 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So we've got just a little bit over a day left on that. Well, folks, we went long today, 80-minute show, but it was a good one. We had a lot to talk about. Brad joined us. Loved your insights, Brad. We are going to go ahead and close out the show. Thanks to our listeners. Thanks to our partners. Thanks to you, Logan and Brad, for joining me here today. We will be back maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. We'll get a note out to all of our listeners, so stay tuned for that. But until then, enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Make it a good day. Goodbye.